And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, folks out there in the Caribbean. It is indeed a pleasure to have these folks come on this set to represent such a prestigious play that is actually happening as we speak at the Little Carib Theatre. It is called Bitter Cassava. It is actually internationally acclaimed play, well-renowned, and we understand Dr. Ifibo is out again. Dr. Lester Ifibo Wilkinson is directing this project again. It is brought to you by the BV Theatre Project production, and they're actually hosting this production now at the Little Carib Theatre. Last week we had Mohammed, who actually is one of the lead roles, the lead character in the play. Yes. He was here last week, and so we decided, no, we're going to further this this broadcast, this introduction of this production. So we have on set Natalie O'Brady. She's the general manager of the Coalition Against Domestic Violence, and she's here to discuss the involvement of the coalition with the production. And we have, of course, one of the marketing representatives of the production, Mr. Neal Devonish.
Hi, good morning. How are you doing, sir?
Good day, good day, good day. Welcome, welcome. And Natalie, give us a little backdrop on the Coalition Against Domestic Violence first, and your involvement, and when was it founded and stuff.
So good morning, Trinidad&Tobago, and thank you, Alan, for having me. The Coalition Against Domestic Violence was established in 1988 to address the issue of domestic violence, particularly to bring together all of the organizations that were then working in the area of domestic violence, so that they could have come together and talked about some of the challenges and strategize for this issue that continues to be a problem even today. Today, the Coalition is a service provision organization providing specific services, for example, psychological care in the form of professional counseling, as well as initiating various partnerships and projects in the community to address gaps or areas of need with respect to domestic violence.
And you've been a part of this from inception?
I'm pretty glad that I look that good in terms of my age. But in terms of, I've been working with the Coalition Against Domestic Violence, let's say, for about more than 8 years.
Okay, because you don't seem to be around since '89.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought.
Well, tell us now, so your role in the whole scheme of things here as a general manager, how tedious is this? Do you enjoy doing this? Is it something that you could actually say it's a painful thing for you to your involvement? How has it been for you emotionally?
I love my job. I have been in the non-profit sector for more than 10 years. I have been working with victims of domestic violence for that entire time. In the capacity of, I count it a privilege to oversee the running of an organization that really seeks to provide professional services to a population that is in dire need, because victims of domestic violence will tell you that, number one, you don't come out very easily and speak to any and everybody about it. It's a silent crime. And two, when you do reach out, you need people who would help you to walk through this particular journey. It's a journey of healing. It's a journey of freedom, in terms of you have to liberate yourself from this issue of violence, this violent relationship. You really need people who would be there to support you and to hold your hand, people who would also advocate on your behalf. So the coalition is also actively involved in providing training for the Trinidad&Tobago Police Service. So we work with police officers in helping them to understand the psychology of domestic violence, so that they will influence the way in which they treat with the victims as well as the perpetrators of domestic violence. Over the years, we have sought to do work with judicial officers, for example, magistrates, as well as attorneys at law, in terms of helping them to understand the issue. So we talk about advocacy from that particular perspective. The coalition was also very integral in the passing of the Domestic Violence Act.
Okay.
So they would have been part of the team lobbying.
Part of that discussion.
Yes, exactly. So we do work around legislative reform, legislative change. So yes, we are in the trenches, directly providing services or advocating for victims.
How has it affected your life, per se? Let me ask you a question, and probably on a personal note. Why did you get involved with the coalition?
My journey is very different, and it's very interesting that you have me on national TV talking about my journey. But aside from that, I started off as a secondary school teacher. All right. And while teaching at that level, I found that I had a lot of students coming to me. I was a mathematics teacher, by the way. Right. Have to put that in. Not everybody like math. So we had these discussions after class, before and after class, about the issues that they were facing in their lives. As a result of that, I became very passionate about advocating for the youth. So I went and I studied psychology. So I'm actually a therapist. I'm a counseling psychologist. So I work with people in that level. So it's that passion, that drive, not getting into the school system, working as a school social worker or guidance officer. I went into the nonprofit sector looking to volunteer, and then I got a job as a counselor, and that's where my journey started with the Coalition Against Domestic Violence.
Good,
yes.
Very good. And so now, how did the coalition now get involved with Cassava? How did this union took place? Where is the marriage to?
Well, I would defer that to Neal, because my understanding, it was a conversation a couple of years ago between Dr. Wilkinson and Mrs. Mahabir Wyatt.
Right.
And if you know those both leaders, these leaders tend to have conversations. Yes. And I think what we are seeing now is actually the fruit of that particular conversation, and I would leave that to
So
Neal.
let's bring Neal in. Neal, tell us a little bit about Bitter Cassava, now bring in, because they're saying that Sunday is a special day for the coalition.
Saturday
11, sorry.
11.
Could you give us a little bit backdrop as to why we bring on Bitter Cassava this season? What was behind the planning and the thoughts of bringing it back in this season?
Bitter Cassava was first written for Best Village in 1979.
Yeah, 79. Yeah.
It was Mousica's Folk Theatre's participation in the Best Village, primarily the Best Village program competition.
Correct, yes.
Since that time, Dr. Wilkinson has rewritten the production into a formal theatre piece. With Best Village, you have certain competition rules. You must have X amount of songs and X amount of dances and like that, all rooted in folk tradition. Right. After the festival, well, when he came to us in Mousica, he said he's not going to develop a Best Village company, he's going to develop a theatre company. Right. And we were performing at the Best Village competition. After that competition, we went into the formal theatre.
This was the same BV theatre?
No, this was Mousica Folk Theatre.
Mousica.
Yes, so we were part of the Best Village program.
Right.
After that, ran for about 10 years. What has emerged now is the BV production, of which Dr. Wilkinson continued to lead. He has rewritten, strengthened, and redirected Bitter Cassava. Right. There's a series of other productions that he has written. There's Same Khaki Pants, there's Hookie Cock Robin, a whole series of, a collection of plays that he has written. Bitter Cassava this time, we said, why at this time? Our society is really affected by many, many issues. Right. Domestic violence, sexual abuse, rape, violence towards young people, to women, to men, in different ways, continue to plague the society. And how do we address it? Mr. O'Brady said they are there at the end when the activity has taken place, but how do we really address it? Right. This production have us look at the issue. Like I said, I've been around the Mousica Folk Theatre. I'm now with the BV production. I've seen this production endless times. And every time I sit down to watch it, it makes me, well, that makes me uncomfortable. I sit, I watch, I change my seat. There's emotion.
Yes, it's very emotional.
So it's a reflection of us.
Yes.
We as a people. How do we address these burning issues of the man-woman relationship, the parent-children relationship? So this production have us as a society look at ourselves and how do we address these burning issues. It is more than a production. It is more than a play.
Yes.
But what makes it so interesting is that Dr. Wilkinson has used the language of the Caribbean, he have used the folk traditions of the Caribbean in terms of music, in terms of the songs, in terms of the dances that we have grown accustomed to in a setting.
Incorporated into the
in a production.
Right.
So it makes us, it's entertaining, it's emotional, it is damning, it is vexing, it is, all of those emotions come to play in this production. And you say, why at this time? Why not at this time? Correct. So the relationship between BV production with Dr. Wilkinson and the domestic headed by Dr. Wan is a natural fit. What they are doing, they are at the end of the situation where people are actually being abused. Right. This production makes us as a people sit down and say, what are we really doing? Isn't there any other way we can resolve some of these situations as we confront them? So it is one of taking us right to the, we are in the middle of the confrontation that's taking place. Right. We are in the middle of the crisis as we watch production unfold. And asking us a question, can't we find other ways to deal with all these vexing questions of violence towards one another, whether it's murders and the abuse on the road and the disrespect that we share to one all the time? Isn't there another way that we as a people can look at what we are doing? This production.
Yeah, because I see this, I'm doing the review on it actually. I'm actually looking at some of the stats coming out of the production itself. And it represents more than just, it really represents anger more than anything else. When I see anger based on the lady, I don't want to give away much because I really want people to come in and take it in, you know. So there's a lot that is in the production. I would like to get involved. I get a little more involved in the production itself. But before we do that, we take a break. When you come back, we continue with Bitter Cassava. Don't go anywhere, folks. Bitter Cassava continues with us on Gayelle's Day Pride as soon as we take this break. Yeah, don't go.